Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today I'm continuing my Christmas movie marathon by reviewing a television made movie. So again I'm reviewing one of these television films and it's titled All I Want for Christmas. Oh yeah folks. Yeah, it sounds a bit cheesy folks, and in some ways it actually is. But, of course, as always, I do have to talk about the plot of this particular movie, so let's get into it, shall we? Our main character in this particular movie, folks, she thinks she is a go-getting advertising executive, when the truth is that many of her clients don't think she's all that high and mighty of her, and say that she lacks people skills as she clearly doesn't listen to a lot of people, and it is why her boss hires this person, Robert, to hire her with the big clients, which pretty much pisses our main character off, whom promises to do better than Robert one of these days. So of course, this pretty much motivates her to do even better, of course. However, one of these days, our main character meets up with Santa Claus helpers and pretty much warns her that she must listen, even though she stubbornly rejects the whole notion of that. This is where the whole extraordinary Christmas wish is introduced. Yeah, a little object is given to her because of this helper of Santa, and she's able to read people's thoughts through this item, in which she pretty much attached to her blouse, so to speak. Yeah, the plot continues from this point on, and she can't believe that this kind of thing has going on. As if that's not bad enough, folks, she's under a lot of stress to succeed in her job. There's also this website in which couples can meet up with each other. Now that becomes an important part of the overall story. And yes, there's the whole typical romance thing going on where this stubborn woman meets this guy of her dreams unknowingly during this accidental coffee spill incident, of course. Through the help of an elf, she obtains this mind-reading jewelry device thingy that allows her to become more self-aware in order to find personal and professional fulfillment. The relationship between the main character and Robert does feel rather forced in some ways, because it does come off kind of contrived in some degrees. This movie isn't exactly terrible, folks. The rest of the remaining cast does feel like bit plays. They just come in and out just because the plot said so. So overall, folks, the characters are pretty okay, I guess. The remaining cast members, their characters add pretty much nothing to the overall story. This isn't exactly a terrible film, folks. It's not bad per se, but I've seen better. I've seen far, far better. This film just turns out to be okay, just very okay at the end. It's not exactly bad. It's far from the worst, but then at the same time, it's far from great either. It's pretty passable, I guess. It's like eating some candy. You like eating candy, but at the end of the day, you might want some more. So it's pretty shallow in some ways, folks. It's not exactly great, but I would say give this film a chance. If you got nothing else to do, I guess you could just kill an afternoon with this movie. Not something I would watch over and over again, but I guess I gave it a shot from time to time. This film does have some decent acting in it. It has some solid acting, I guess, but nothing Oscar-worthy, I guess you can say, folks. So, I can say this film had potential in a lot of ways. I can honestly say that it did feel like it could have been much better than what was delivered here, folks. It could have been much better, but I don't hate it. I can say that. I didn't necessarily hate the film, nor I loved it either. So, folks, yeah, some of the acting did feel a bit wooden, of course, and some of the dialogue is pretty okay. Not exactly something I would watch again, but maybe from time to time, maybe I guess I'm gonna watch it, but there's nothing of a masterpiece. Yeah, this isn't exactly a super Christmas type of a movie. It doesn't necessarily have the whole Christmas feel, but it does take place during a particular season. I felt that this was used as an excuse to have this whole romance thing going on, folks. Which doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, really, folks. And this film does attempt to be like a modern Christmas movie, which in some ways doesn't have to be a bad thing either. So yeah, folks, I can say at the end of the day, this was pretty entertaining in its own little way. Of course, it's a bit cheesy, sure, but it has moments, I guess. I would say it's one of those films that you could just watch from time to time, I suppose, sure. And it just comes off like it's one of those copycat kind of movies. There's nothing really original in this particular movie, really, folks. So yeah, folks, I can say that this film is worth your time if you've got nothing else to do. If you have nothing else to do in your time, give this a chance. This was a good time waster. It's pretty shallow. The characters don't have much depth in them, folks. They're pretty much your typical characters, folks. They're your typical cookie cutter type of characters. So, why I don't mind having a female main character, even she came off a bit shallow, really, folks. Of course, looking good is not enough for the characters to become rememberable, that's for sure. So yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, it's just okay. Very, very okay, folks. Not something I would call a masterpiece, that's for sure. The lighting itself for this particular movie wasn't too bad. The lighting was okay. I don't remember any of the music that was used for this film. So the music for this particular movie does come off rather generic all in all. So yeah, folks, and it pains me to say that because I do like watching Christmas movies. It's not my favorite holiday, really, folks, like I said before, but I don't mind watching these kinds of movies. It doesn't have any of the charm a lot of the older, vintage type of Christmas movies. So yeah, it doesn't have that feel like a lot of the older Christmas movies have, but it does attempt to be its own thing, kind of, really, kind of. But folks, yeah, it had potential, but it just fell flat. To some degree, it was kind of boring. Maybe it was a little too long. I guess you can say it was a tad too long. They could have at least maybe removed roughly 25 minutes away from the film, and it would have been better off. Some of the pacing does become a rather problem in this film, folks. It could have been a bit shorter, if you ask me, folks. But I can say some of the camera work was pretty good. Some of the camera work was actually quite good. It does have some quite nice scenery as the film progresses, so I can't complain too much, I suppose, sure. But altogether, folks, this was just a solid movie, I guess. And it was just okay, just very okay, I suppose, folks. Not exactly a great movie, but it's definitely better than some of the other bad movies I've watched over the years, folks, that came out during the Christmas season. Anyway, All I Want for Christmas gets an overall rating of a 5.6 out of 10. It gets a 5.6 out of 10, folks. Oh yeah, it's pretty okay. And of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Oh yeah. See ya.